Okay.
Are we on?
Yeah.
Hello. My name is Kenny Mamarella-D'Cruz. It's Wednesday at 1 and I'm in a bit of an office type space in the city, and it's a little posh, and I wondered whether I can get away with... Ooh, there isn't space, is there? No, it's not going to happen. Does it look like I've got a plant coming out of my crown chakra? Hey, so I feel a little out of sorts today. It's like suddenly it's sunny, it's been snowing, it's been freezing. My folks have just gone back to Wales today because the roads are safe after landing from Goa, where it was too hot, it's too cold here. And suddenly it's like I've been chucked out back into normality as if nothing's happened. And stuff's happened. Death's been around. My uncle died, as I said last week. And we talked about death on MenSpeak radio, Paul Harold and I. And I look forward to seeing my family. And I wish circumstances were better. I'll tell you what has really been on my mind. My homeless friend, I've never actually had the courage to ask her name, but when it was freezing cold, really freezing cold, and the snow was out, usually I find that the homeless people aren't there, and my fantasy is that they're taken into a shelter or a hostel or something.
Mark Hayhurst is watching.
Mark. We keep e-ing each other, like emails and stuff, but we haven't seen you for a long time. I was just getting into cold and homelessness. So it was really cold, it was freezing, and you know, I don't go and say hello and do the chat stuff too much. I get out of the tube, I go around the corner. I remember the time when I went to her and I said, have this food. I had some food. And she said, I don't need food, I've got food. Oh, first she said, it's not frozen, is it? Because people give her frozen food. And she said, look, they don't understand. I'm homeless. How can I cook food if I'm homeless? So I said, okay, you can have this. And would you like something to... And she said, what I really need is a peppermint tea. And, me with my dragon ego, it's like, a peppermint tea? And then she said, yeah, I really need a peppermint tea because I've got Crohn's disease. And it's my digestion, and it really helps me with digestion. And it was like, oh my God, of course you can have peppermint tea. So now I've got a habit of when I see her, though, which is quite often, straight around to prep, buy a peppermint tea, and I come straight back. And it was absolutely freezing. It was last week one day, it started snowing and everything. Got the peppermint tea and came back, and she was crying. There was a guy there chatting with her, and she was crying. And she recognised me, and I gave her the tea, and she thanked me, and I said, what's up? And she said, well, don't people realise that I'm homeless? I don't wish to live like this. I have had family problems. I can't get a job. I don't wish to do this. And I said, why do you say this? What's going on? Oh no, she said, I'm not a bad person. What? Who says you're a bad person? And she said, sometimes people shout at me and they say, stop being so stupid, don't be so lazy, get a job. And she said that people have been really nasty to her at times. And she's such a kind of waif of a girl. And she's so gentle, and the first thing she says is she apologises. There's another guy who keeps going around asking people for quids, at least a quid. Sometimes he goes 2 quid. It's like, what, is that your minimum take? But it was really the way that she was crying. I just didn't know what to do. And the other guy, I was really confused. The other guy kept touching her on the arm and saying stuff, no, don't worry, don't listen to them, it's not like that. And I felt really protected that she was being touched. Not only did I not ask her name, I'd never touched her. It just seemed almost abusive. It reminds me of once I was...
Tim Fisk is watching.
Hey, Tim. I was going to a client in South Kensington. I'd been to Waitrose, I had my food, And I was walking past, I was in South Kensington, apparently it's one of the richest parts of Europe, I don't know if it's true. And there was a guy who was fast asleep in a doorway in like Poshville. So I crept up, didn't want to wake him up, and I left the food near, not too near, but near his head. And as I crept away, suddenly he shouts at me, total rage, and he throws the food at me. And I thought, oh my God, how stupid of me to creep up on someone. Probably, this is my fantasy, I know, probably the reason he's homeless is who knows who crept up on him and did what. And now he's not safe out in the street. Some numbskull takes Waitrose food and freaks him out. So it reminded me of that, and I'm really careful about touch, being familiar, stuff like that. So I gave her the peppermint tea, and I said, well, what do you need? What do you need? And I was scared that she would say, I need to come home with you. Then what would I say? What would my wife say? So silliness. And she said, I don't know what to do. She was in a real state, feeling absolutely crap about herself because people have been abusive and said, get a job, stop sponging, blah, 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 whatever it was. And she said, well, I need to get enough money to get to the hostel in time so I can sleep indoors tonight. And I said, well, how much does it cost and how much do you have? She'd collected £6. Apparently it cost £16, and she still had enough time. So I don't know how this works. I don't know how hostels... I'm very curious, actually. How do hostels work for homeless people? Do they need... Is it true when they come onto the tubes and say, I need X amount in order to get to the hostel on time? And how many people judge if they smell of drink, or if they're wearing decent clothes, or, you know, any justification to give or not to give, or to avoid, or embarrassment, or whatever it was. So I gave her the dosh, she caught the train, and she was okay that night. And, do you know, and this is really sexist of me, I guess, because she's a woman. I'm more protective, thinking I'm really scared you're going to be beaten or raped or something like that. So she was off, and I was really, really upset. And that's just my stuff. So I just walked around waiting for my bus, and then the guy walked up to me. So I gave her the dosh, and she went. I don't even remember what happened with the guy. And I didn't like him because he was touching her, and I guess I was being overprotective. And then he walks up to me and says, you know, it was really cool that you did that, blah, blah, blah. I know what it's like. I was homeless. And then he tells me his story about being homeless, and that people would beat him, kick him while he's asleep in the doorway, throw hot water on him, throw cold water on him, how some of the other guys just couldn't cope and just, you know, wanted to kill themselves. But because he had a scarf that his mother knitted him, and he was sending money home to his mother, he took care of himself so he could send the money home. And then I asked him how he got over it. Apparently he got CVs together that he gave out at, was it Heathrow or Gatwick Airport, got a job, got on his feet, and it's like, oh my God, what an incredible story. What a decent guy. I gave him my card, and I'm curious to explore, how do people get from that state to okay again? So why am I telling all this? Well, hey, I guess I'm carrying it, it's on my mind, and also it's about belonging. I'm lucky. My folks hung out with me for almost a week now, and much as, you know, I've been busy with work and everything, I didn't get much space to be with them, but we were together. Even if we didn't have a lot of space, and we actually like each other. We enjoy being together. Maybe there's a deadline to it. Maybe if we lived together in one room, then 2 days and we'd be killing each other, who knows? But it's an issue with Easter coming up. Who do people belong with? Will you go back to your families, your blood families? And if you do, and there are issues, then how are you going to deal with them? Is it about, when I go back, so many men tell me in the men's groups, when I go back to my families, irrespective of how powerful I am at work, or how confident I am with my friends, or irrespective of my London life or my life away from my family, I'm back with the family, and I'm a scared little boy, and I'm their little boy, and there's no space for me, and I've sold out on myself. So it's a big one. Going back to your families, Christmas, Easter, if that's what you're going to do. And then there are two families. I put this on Facebook the other day. There's a picture of my brother and I from way back. And there's a picture of my friend Al, who's going to come back to the UK for a bit. And I think I said something like blood brothers and chosen brothers. And there's blood family and there's chosen family. The thing about blood family is you can't get away from them. Blood family are going nowhere. Blood family you will see at least at births, deaths, marriages, or there's a history, or there's unfinished business, or there's resentment, or there's rage, or there's love, or there's I want to be with you but now I'm married and you're married and we're not allowed to act like kids anymore, or whatever it is. There's stuff, there's a bond. And the good thing about that is if there are lessons to learn or if there are lessons to unlearn, then there they are and they're not going anywhere. The thing about chosen family is chosen family, I find when people get clear about this is who I am and they live who they are, then their frequency, the am I frequency is, am I safe, am I popular, am I going to be criticised or humiliated or abandoned, and who do I need to be in order for you to like me? It's like second guessing and thinking, well, judging by the look on your face, you want this or you feel that or whatever it is, so I'll figure out from the signals what you want and I will be that so you like me and I'm safe. That's am I. That's I will be whoever you need me to be. I don't even need to exist, so you like me and I'm safe and I won't be abandoned. And then the I am. And I'd say one of the biggest journeys that I make with the men that I work with privately, and so much in the group as well, because in the group we get to practice and practice. It's fine knowing the theory. In the groups we get to practice and get the feedback. Or it's not even am I being authentic. If, especially in the closed group, someone's selling out and being nicey, some of the group's going to say, what are you doing? Get back here, you're putting on that stupid act again, or get rid of that ridiculous grin and get real with us. Because when people are true to who they are, when I'm being me, my frequency is not who do I need to be for everyone to love me. It's more, this is who I am and I can extend to you. So there's a fine-tuned frequency of who I am with my values, my likes, my sense of humour, my mission, whatever it is, but I come from am I unlearn or undo the am I get in alignment with myself, and that goes out into the world, and then people get attracted to who I really am. Now, who could blame anyone if you're putting out frequency of I will be whoever you need to be, and then you can't really complain, well, why do I attract people that disrespect me or take advantage or don't know who I am or don't ask me how I am or blah 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 blah? Well, it's because you're not being anyone. So I kind of believe that if that's turned on its back, well, yeah, if you turn it around then, and you come from I am, then who you are will be put out into the world and that frequency will be met. And for me, that's where true chosen family comes from, because it's like a similar value pool, or like-minded people is what people call it. The thing about chosen family, though, is when it gets icky or sticky or embarrassing, or there's conflict, or there's something not nice going on, then it can be so easy to think, well, this is a bit uncomfortable, I'm too scared to deal with this, I need to survive, I don't need this hassle, I'll dump them, I'll run away, I'll shun them, I'll give them the cold shoulder, I'll abandon, I'll do whatever it is, but cut, you're out, I'm going to carry on with my act. Now, true chosen family, the whole best friends type thing, they're the ones who will stick around to not... the BBC are never gonna have me on again because I keep saying words like shit. Anyway, rather than going through the shit, they will avoid and go around or demonize or avoid the shit. Where for me, it's about what's up, and then going through it consciously together, going through the projections, the anger, the misunderstandings, the jealousy, all those embarrassing things, going through the you did this with that one and why didn't you do it with me, and where do we do people do that, or did that stop in primary school? These kind of things are important. Where do I stand? I love you, I care for you, I'm scared of you, I don't trust you anymore. These things, I mean, these are the kind of things, sadly, that some of my close friends have had from me. Can you imagine? They're nice, decent, middle-class English people. Can you imagine how their eyes bulge? Anyway, these are the things that matter the most. Tell the truth. And for me, the chosen family are the ones that I can be real with, I can be scared with, I can be lost with, I can be vulnerable with, and they won't chuck me, and I won't chuck them. We could even abuse each other. We could punish each other. I know it's not the cool thing to do, but this stuff needs to pass. And surely the ones for it to pass with are the ones that matter the most. Now, especially in a place like London, are there close friends? Is there community? It's also extreme. There's a lack of time. And especially when men grow older and they start getting really successful with their careers, or kids, there's no time to do anything because it's work, and then it's kids, and the social life starts to be, well, my son Tommy's best friend Timmy, well, I guess his father will do because the kids play together and I guess we should hang out. And it's like, well, where's there space for you? And also the whole thing with men as well that I didn't like at all is when I was more of a feminine person, when I had more of a female side and I hadn't really claimed my male side, I was doing the second guessing plate spinning thing where I needed everyone to like me and I'd second guess what's going on and I would know where I stood with everyone. Or I'd fantasize that I knew where I stood with everyone, and I'd keep the plate spinning, and I knew where everyone was. So I worked very, very hard to keep my community. I didn't even exist in that, but it was a way of pretending to be popular and all of that. The masculine way, as I changed, is more when you are in front of me. This is like lots more testosterone, and as I changed, suddenly my attention span went and my testosterone went through the roof. Like, it was bad enough as it was. Anyway, it was very much, if you're in front of me, you exist. If you're not in front of me, you don't exist. If you're in front of me, then I give you all my attention, and I've forgotten about that and him and that and whatever. When you're in front of me, I love you the most because you're the one that I'm with. No one, nothing else exists. It's not a very masculine thing to say, and it's not like you have to go all gooey-eyed and say I love you to anyone necessarily, but it's attention, it's connection. A lot of men, a lot of people, but certainly a lot of men, especially after, work, sports, and all of the places where there's not a lot of time and people have drifted apart, suddenly it's like, where is everyone? And even if they have their old friends around, it's like, where am I going to be met? Because these people aren't meeting me anymore. That, for me, is where, if you've tried, with your church or your sports or your neighbourhood or your work or whatever it is, and you're not really being met by people, this is maybe where the men's groups come in. And the men's group men really, really get to know, first and foremost, themselves better, secondly, each other better. And there is space to be met. There is space to be in a group together and tell the truth about, I don't trust you because I am scared because I'm stuffed up because this is what's going on in my life. How did you deal with it? And then everyone's going to say, well, when I was in that place, or when my friend was there, this is how he turned it around, or this is how he totally made an ass of himself and failed. So for us, it's all about sharing what's going on. Well, I said this yesterday. I was speaking to a journalist, I think from You magazine, Sunday Times, and it was like, what are the steps? First step is get real with what's going on. Second step is cut the isolation and share. This is what's going on for me. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how to fix it. Share it. Third step is, once I'm real with it and I've shared it, then I need to accept it, because very often I've got this busyness in my head, but it's only when I put it into words to explain to someone else do I get to listen, do I get to formulate it in a way that someone can understand. I put it in an order and it's like, there it is, it's out of me, it has a shape and form, and now I can look at it and accept it for what it is. Once I've accepted it and once it's out of me and it's been witnessed by someone else, usually there's less panic and there's more presence. And once there's less panic, I can choose how I wish to respond to this and look at the outcomes that I need. And I can cut the whole panic reactions, where there's no choice, it's a reaction, it's a fix. And embarrassingly, what I was saying to the journalist yesterday, it was late last night actually, I think it was around midnight, was when the immature male comes with the panic reaction, then the next thing to do is justify the panic reaction and believe the lie or the line or whatever it is and carry on down that rabbit hole, rather than actually, I've totally changed my mind about this, I now realise this and this, and if I want that outcome, then I realise where I've gone wrong or what I need to do differently in order for this to work out differently. So in the men's groups we have a community. In the men's groups there's depth, there's trust, there's openness. There are very basic ground rules. Check out and download the ground rules, mensgroups.co.uk. There's even the check-in round, so you can just, hit the ground running with this and start your own men's groups. Do it in the pub, do it wherever. But there is a certain container, I guess, where we know how to communicate, we know how to listen, we know that it's safe to tell the truth, where it's not all about banter and humiliation and the pecking order. It's about the mature male who is able to collaborate and listen rather than just panic and fix. This is another thing that we talked about last night actually, how in so many relationships the immature male will, rather than listen to someone's debrief of their day or their pain or their issue, and rather than just quietly listen, come up with suggestions and come up with things to fix. It's like the belief of, you're telling me about your pain because you want me to fix it. So the sooner I can second guess what's going on and fix it, the sooner you're out of pain and the sooner I'm out of discomfort. Where the aware male includes the female or the feminine side and can listen, sit in my pain and my discomfort because you're in pain and I'm not allowed to fix it or pretend I can fix it. Sit and listen just while you talk it out and talk it through and let it go. And if you decide to hold on to your pain, that's entirely up to you. If you decide to hold to anger, that's entirely up to you. It's not my right to fix it or change it. So in the groups, we practice listening, we practice being on the same side, we practice and grow into being authentic men. Now, on the second how am I doing so far, Bertie?
25 minutes.
25 minutes. The things that we said we'd talk about, are we talking about them?
How to get the most out of the men's group.
I've done a bit of that, haven't I? You're not satisfied.
Belonging, but family, chosen family, second guessing and declaring love, so yeah.
Let me show you something. This came through the mail today. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So, I go to the Being a Man Festival every November. It's bloody brilliant at the South Bank Centre in November. And luckily they asked me to speak or be on a panel or run a group or something. So this came from Casey Moore, who is doing the Man Now project. So basically, this is the photo that happened. You go in a booth, hold on to the trigger, I guess, you get your finger on the trigger. Now my inner DJs have kicked off with Donna Summer, I got my finger on the trigger, love is in control. Anyway, moving swiftly on, hold on to the trigger. When you're ready, looking into the camera, you press the button. And that's it. No posing. It's like I am alone in this dark room, sitting, and I wonder what's going on. I wonder, when you look at this, what you think is going on. And this is a good second guessing game. Is this guy sad? Is this guy terrified? Is this guy in pain? Is this guy needy? Is this guy enraged, broken, showing something behind the eyes of what's really going on, behind the I'm fine, Wallace and Gromit type stuff? And different people will have different judgments and projections. I guess a lot of people might just run away and think, I'm not going there with this guy. But second guessing is like, I think he's angry, therefore I'd better be quiet and good. I think he's really sad, therefore I'd better be really gentle. I think this, therefore I'll act like that. I have a fantasy that this is going on, so I'll respond to my fantasy. And before anyone knows it, no one's asking, how are you, what's happening? And everyone's taking it into their own fantasy and reacting, and it's just totally got nothing to do with anything. Quite a funky photo. No, I think I look terrified. What did I just hit on there? I said something and I forgot it. I'm babbling. Do you know, I want to go back to the homeless thing. I need to do something. I'm really not sure what. Yeah, I've had my own issues. Thank God I'm over my homeless issues. I guess since being a refugee until only a couple of years ago, or maybe even less, I had big issues. I expected to be homeless again at some stage. Again, is like, I wasn't on the streets or anything, refugee camps and stuff like that. But I guess it was the same when I was working with Mother Teresa in Calcutta. And I asked an Indian guy, there were very, very few local volunteers, and I said, how come the locals don't volunteer? And he said, well, it's too close to home. It's too close to, you know, they might end up like that, so avoid it, and it doesn't exist. And I guess maybe the homelessness thing, easy to give money, easy. When I was younger, I used to give them oranges and fresh fruit, easy to kind of fob it off that way. I feel like I need to get more involved and find out how it works and do something. So watch this space. I'm not quite sure what. Let's see. But there's homelessness, there's family, there's chosen family, there's people who you can be with and this is the difference between conditional and unconditional relationships. When I was second guessing and needing to pretend to be in control of my relationships, the rule was, you don't leave, we don't leave, we second guess what's going on, we don't go anywhere embarrassing, and it's the victim club. The unconditional relationships, which for me are a lot more powerful, is you could leave any time, and that's real, and that's true. And I can leave any time, and that's real, and that's true. There is no survival pact. It's more about how can we die together so we can really live together. What do you need? That's exactly what I was going to pick up on again. The needs. What do you need? What do you feel? What issue do you have with me? How is that going to help you? How can I help you with your issue with me so you can live beyond it and live a better life? We had the most brilliant, I love the men's groups. We had a brilliant men's group again last Thursday at the College of Psychic Studies, and there must have been about 10 of us, which is quite a big group. After the check-in, we did one round, and it was rich. It was so rich. Listening to the things that were happening, quite huge things for a lot of people, the things that were happening in people's lives. The one round that we did was, what do you need? What do you need? Some people needed safety. Some people needed to let go of something. Some people needed to be heard about something. Some people, there were so many different needs. It's not a trick question. There isn't a trick answer apart from be clear about your needs. When you're clear about your needs, then it's very possible that they're going to be met. When you're clear about your needs, then something uncomfortable might need to shift in order for them to be met. And that would get you out of the limbo of pain, the limbo of survival, the limbo of fixing it, the limbo of I'm a victim. once I'm clear about my needs, once we got clear about our needs, then we own our needs. It's not, I'm a helpless little boy, who's going to save me? Or I'm a victim to this, who's going to help me? Why am I coughing at the end of every sentence? But get clear about your needs, own your needs, share your needs, and I guess it's a man up and talk about it and be able to respond to what life brings to enable the needs to take place. I'm beginning to cough. I've barely drunk my coffee. I'm beginning to flag. So, I guess I should chip, eh? I've got a newsletter coming out on April Fool's Day. For me, the fool is the seeker. For me, I'm the fool. And it's so cool walking into a bigger life and not knowing. It's not cool, it's really scary and it's really stupid, but hey, it's my game. And it's the game rule number, I think it was the last rule with the men's group. Play big enough to get it wrong. Play big enough to get hurt. Play big enough to really come alive. And for me, the fool plays big and explores life and comes alive on his pathway. And on the pathway, everything's going to happen and everything can be turned into gold. And that's what alchemy is all about. So please go to themanwhisperer.co.uk. There will be a pop-up. Sign up to my newsletter and I will send you my April Fool's Day newsletter, which is all about walking your spiritual path. And it's going to be Easter Sunday, so there's going to be bunnies involved. I will see you next Wednesday at 1. Have a goodie. Bye.